This is us in 2021, where we were actual babies who thought that making a card game would be really easy. So anyway, fast forward to now, we're in mid-2022, post-NS, the start of our 20s, and we've overcome a lot of challenges to be able to proudly call ourselves the creators of Chow Recruit, Singapore's first ever BMT-themed card game. Chow Recruit launched last year in the fall of 2021 after having a really successful Kickstarter campaign which was over 200% funded. And since then, we've sold multiple units, hosted gameplay sessions, and gathered Singapore's community of card game enthusiasts who bonded over the relatable topic of NS. So a lot of people have been asking us, what's next? Well, we've been really humbled by the positive impact that Chow Recruit has brought in terms of engaging positive conversations over NS. So we know that we can take this card game to the next level. We've decided to turn Chow Recruit into a digital card game where it'll be hosted on a multiplayer server. The plan is pretty simple. Firstly, the card game doesn't need any prototyping because all the game mechanics that exist are already optimized. So what we need to do is just take the game mechanics and convert it into a smooth, visually appealing, juicy, bug-free program. I'm going to return to Singapore to spend my summer there as a game dev, and this is how it went.
Solus and I arrived in Singapore a couple days prior to day one, and we firstly had to reunite with the rest of the team and introduce our new team member in person. So now our team consists of me, the creative side, Andre, marketing side, and Shangyi and Solus are the engineers in the back end of the team. You'll be hearing from me, Shangyi, and Solus for most of this devlog. After having a local meal, with the team, we had a brief discussion of the timeline and planned out our next goals for the rest of the summer. We settled into our new office space, the library. It's a good space where we will be coming here for our daily 9 to 5. We're deciding to spend our summer quite productively. We've made a card game, but we know this new project we're tackling is intense. A good working environment is going to help us stay motivated and on track of tasks.
Hence, us engineers spent our days 2 and 3 with some brainstorming and mind mapping for the cards in the game. Planning is boring work, but it's really necessary to set up the game for future developments.
Meanwhile, my tasks were to first start the wireframing for the GUI so that the engineers, when it came to it, would be able to arrange elements more accurately and effectively.
We are finally done with brainstorming and are starting on UML class graphs, which weren't exactly done accurately, but did the job for now. We can solve the messiness of it for another week, right? Monday is us picking up from where we left off on our UML graphs, which basically means more boxes and arrows.
Meanwhile, I started the wireframing for variations of the game arena. We made a decision that unlike the physical game, the maximum number of our digital card game would be 4 players with a minimum of 2 players. So we had to make sure the game layout was optimized for all different setups. Also, Solus tried during today.
Comments.
Really bitter.
While the engineers were loving their exciting work of UML graphs, I, as a true UI designer, watched like 3 hours worth of Uno online tournaments for research purposes. Jokes aside, I was actually looking out for the motion, SFX, and interactions. And if you guys didn't know, we actually held a digital beta playthrough last year because of COVID limitations, and we utilized Tabletop Simulator to play our online version of Chow Recruit. That was actually also the stimulus for us to start our digital card game this year. As you can see, with the way Chow Recruit is played, the layout is quite messy, so my task is to find a way to optimize this layout. Day 7, I received some feedback from my first draft on player iterations. There is definitely a lot of improvement to be done, and my team gave me constructive feedback on how it can be better optimized.
Okay, we're pretty done with UML graphs and decided to start on the actual project. We took the graphs and converted them into code. which was super fast process actually.
It was a good idea to start with UML graphs despite how boring it is because it genuinely helps speed up the working process.
Day 9, and I was struggling with finding the best optimal layout for the game and decided to refresh my brain by playing the physical card game so that I could better visualize what was needed.
It's Monday, another new week as the lowly game dev. Shit. We found out there were quite a lot of edge cases regarding certain rules of the cards, which caused some occasional problems during physical game testing. But we had yet to progress past the blue screen that we were staring for the past week. So we had to finish converting all the UML graphs into code first.
We could finally start working on the more exciting features of the game. Oh look, now we can drag and drop cards. We spent some time doing more planning today for the card library. We took every card in the game and categorized them, and wrote down every action needed to execute a specific card.
Day 13, we held our first team meeting since arriving in Singapore to discuss the edge cases we found during the gameplay on Monday. It was a long discussion, but it was productive as we realized there were a lot of rules to clarify, especially in our interrupt cards. Not to worry, as we'll touch on what the cards do later in this devlog, but our priority is to obviously minimize the learning curve so that players can be more immersed into the world of the game.
On to day 14, I finished programming the drag and drop feature as well as basic code for XP cards.
For the game board, I worked on iterations of simple GUI such as end turn, character special ability, and tried to optimize it considering the user's perspective. I wanted to make sure that visually, all these elements would not only clutter up the screen but also don't be too fast spread that the user's eyes would be darting everywhere. So I spent some time creating iterations. Anyway, it's Friday, so let's go reward our hard work with some KBBQ near our office.
Today, I could start on the card arrangement of the player's hands. Referencing Romaine's UI, I adjusted the cards to an optimal degree so that it fans out nicely and neatly.
Day 16. I spent a lot of time considering the visual appeal of the game and making sure that it has strong connection to the NS theme. So I decided the game board would be the float, soon to be the NS square along Marina Bay. It's not the most polished version right now, but it helps ease the visuals for the engineers to test out the code for the rest of the game.
Today is day 17. Since our multiplayer game allows gameplay for 2 to 4 players, I made a spawn manager that is consistent to the number of players in the game. With Romaine's UI, I could arrange the spawn points of players' hands, XP zones. Our multiplayer game allows gameplay for 2 and spent some time creating a custom spawn manager that is consistent to the number.
So, it's monkey time explanation. So basically, these boxes you see, it's nothing more but just explaining where the deck should be here, should be here, or should be here, and explaining how the deck should look like this, should look like this. Okay, monkey explanation is over.
Day 18. I found the spawn manager a little hard to navigate, and spent some time creating a custom spawn manager inspector to ease up future workflow. It makes customizing and rearranging items like spawn points much easier, and helps us edit the card arrangement in the player's hands. Day 19. To ease testing, we downloaded a custom command inspector from Unity Asset Store, which is free by the way, where we could easily spawn cards in players' hands, move cards between player decks, and all sorts of things. It's pretty much like command blocks in Minecraft, and really help in testing different scenarios, as well as movement between the varying spawn points. Finally, day 20. In order to create a certain sense of realism in the interaction of the game, I decided to focus on the card movements. I incorporated lerping throughout every interaction with the cards. For example, as you can see here, when you shuffle between cards in your hands, the cards shift quite subtly, which makes it more fluid visually. The interaction with the cards feels so much smoother and is quite similar to what we had in Tabletop Simulator.
It's day 21 and I've been creating simple HUDs after taking a break from polishing the GUI. I'm playing with making the style of our game consistent throughout, even the small little elements in the game. I started by sketching some winning banners and defeat banners, basing the sketches on army insignias, and spent a couple hours coming up with the polished drafts on Photoshop.
It's day 22. Alright, we are finally ready to start on coding all the actionable cards in the game, and we'll take you through what exactly each card does as shown in our amazingly neat UML graphs from the start of the month. We started on the important cards, XP and Kena cards. XP cards are the currency in the game which allow you to build full sets that lead you to victory. XP cards can only be placed in XP zones and are stacked to create full sets, which means they have a value of or more than 5 XP. Day 23. Kena cards deal out punishments and minus XP from XP sets. You can hunt down your friends and delay their progress. To nerf these cards, we made sure you could only place one Kena card per XP set, so don't be too evil with your friends during these games, alright?
Day 24. On Thursday, we implemented the remove Kena cards. Suck thumb and woke up my idea. Let's allow players to remove Kena cards from their XP sets.
Day 25. Today, we are working on Steal XP cards, which are pretty self-explanatory. Any one of these cards, when played into the action pile, allow players to steal XP cards that have already been placed in another player's XP set into their own XP sets. And on to day 26. Support type cards require a bit more attention as they are slightly more complex. SAR-21 can be placed on top of full XP sets and prevents anyone from denying the full set or stealing any XP cards from that set. However, only Stun Rifle can counter this and steals full XP sets even with SAR-21 on it. Take MC is an effect card which makes the player immune to everything for one round, and is always a fun card to play when the stakes are the highest in the game. With time extension, the player is able to play 3 more actions when played.
Day 27. The next type of cards we worked on are draw cards, which are self-explanatory. The lerping made earlier, as you can see, actually make the interaction feel so polished, as it automatically rearranges your hand when the game draws cards into your hand.
Day 28. There are 9 types of attack cards, so we spent quite a lot of time programming these cards into the game. These cards are really gold mines in your hand, as you can deal quite a big amount of damage if you use them strategically in your game.
Knock it down. Discards one random card from any targeted player's hand. Stun Muzzle allows you to steal one random card from any targeted player's hand. So selecting a beneficial card is really testing your luck for that round. Man Mode is more OP version where you can steal free cards from any player's hand. Day 29. Today we added mechanics for Standby Bet and Standby Universe. For Standby Bet, a player can reveal a targeted player's hand and steal one card of their choice. Standby Universe allows the player to reveal every player's hands and steal one card of their choosing. None of the other players can see each other's hands, so it's a big advantage for the player who plays Standby Universe. Man down! Man down! Skips the player's next turn. We are on day 30, and today I worked on the remaining attack cards. Buddy System swaps identity cards between you and the targeted player permanently for the rest of the game, which can change up gameplay strategies a lot. Kebela Pussing. Good enough. Allows you to play a Uno reverse and reverse the rotation of the player's turns. Remember take MC? Home Visit is the counter card, which punishes the players who has Chao Gang and forces them to not only lose their MC but also discards 2 random cards.
There's a couple more card types that we've yet to introduce, but that's all that we finished programming in our first 30 days.
I'm back. And this is totally not scripted. I'm wearing the same admin tee because I just don't have that many admin tees like some of you guys do. Our small team has done a lot of work for just 30 days. And within 30 days alone, we now have a semi-functioning program which I think kudos to our engineering team. And I think with the effects and the design to be polished in the future, the game is gonna look way more polished than it is now. And I'm really excited to share with you guys these updates. I think momentum is really key, especially for a small team that's also doing this part-time with university. So that's going to be a challenge, but we're going to do our best to bring you as many updates as we can through our social medias or our devlogs. If you're interested to catch our updates before we upload them in devlogs, because it takes us like months to edit them, feel free to join our Discord, where you'll get exclusive news and updates with our digital card game, as well as sales that happen on our website. And if you're interested to play the game yourself or get it as a gift, we sell them at local retailers, or you can grab a deck of your own on our website, which will be all linked below. I'll see you guys in the next devlog. Okay, bye bye.